Welcome back to the GBguns Armory series, where we're talking more thoughts and feels, and I'm looking for your input because this is stuff that's been usually out for a while. Chances are you've had a chance to try it or know someone who has. And besides, the facts and performance is already covered in full on the main channel, and quite often, including this guy, over at GBgunsDepot.com, where the deeper dive exists. This is the Palmetto State Armory Dagger Micro. Now, it was often called Micro Dagger, which makes sense to me, but this is Dagger Micro, is how they call it. C1, which has the compensated slide, a little bit longer slide. This was a package deal I purchased. I don't have any freebie stuff relationship with Palmetto State Armory. I'm not one of their people. I am a customer of theirs, and I do have affiliate links so that when they have a good price and I send you guys that direction, there's something to help me pay for the website and the channel and all that kind of stuff. But I had heard a lot of noise about this when it first got teased, and then really hadn't seen anything since. It is, as I understand it, and some of you will know better than I do, a Glock-based micro compact, and it's using Palmetto State Armory's own version of the shield mags, which are a metal mag. And surprise, surprise, because metal can offer the same strength with less thickness, when you have just a metal mag instead of a polymer mag like Glocks do, you can end up with more internal volume for the same external size. Groundbreaking, isn't it? I know. It's also why metal AR mags tend to work better with 77 grainers, because there's more room inside. Anyways, this mag is supposedly made by Palmetto State Armory. I've seen and heard some reports that it's actually somehow more reliable than some of the shield mags. I don't know. I'm not into any of that. But it only came with one mag. Came with a nylon pistol pouch, as well as this Raven 3 MOA micro dot, which I appreciate is not auto brightness. It has power buttons there. I could not find anything about the Raven optic anywhere else on the web, so I'm assuming it's a PSA branded thing made by one of the many white label things out there. It's a side loader, which is great, but it doesn't quite sit low enough to co-witness. I zeroed the dot using the irons, which is what I usually try to do just before going to the range. Once you mount it at the house, I look at the irons, try to make the dot line up with the front sight post while holding a proper sight picture through the irons. And for this guy, that happens just when the dot disappears to the bottom of the screen. Like, if you can't see the dot anymore, then you know it's roughly there. Took it out the range, sure enough, that's where it zeroed. So it's not truly a co-witness. You can still use your irons should the dot quit, but it's a tiny, tiny sight picture. Off of that, why did I pick this model? Well, I was curious about the comp slide setup. See, when we reviewed the SIG 365 X Macro Comp, which is the actual full name of that thing, everyone just says X Macro, I liked the ported slide idea versus ported barrel for a couple reasons. One, you don't have ammunition sensitivity. When you have ported barrels, you run the risk of certain types of bullets, particularly those that have plated jackets, and I think some frangibles are also at risk. Some of that being shaved off when the bullet passes that port in the barrel, and guess which direction that heads? Up and back. So you run the risk of showering yourself in the face with metal. Whereas when you have a ported slide, you can see how large that opening is. There's plenty of room. The bullet is flying straight through here without any risk of making contact with that slide. I think it's pretty neat. Also lets you retain slide length, and you're not necessarily adding the same amount of weight that a compensator does to the front, so your likelihood of having cycling issues or ammunition sensitivity in that way is less. The drawback is you have to go with a shorter barrel. When SIG did it, they were clever in that they used an XL length slide, which is for a 3.7 inch barrel, with a regular 365 barrel, 3.1 inch. They were already making those barrels super easy. Downfall is the X Macro Comp, for as long as it is, only has a 3 inch barrel, which is, you might as well just be using a regular 365 as far as energy. This has a 3.4 inch barrel, so now we're getting close to the magic 4 inch, at least closer. So I found that extra enticing. Feelings on the range were very uninspired. No one's ever raved about the triggers on these, and I certainly won't. It's not a terrible trigger. I don't think there's anything really bad there, but the shape of the grip just was not allowing for a confident grip, I guess you could say. Not quite big enough to get a lot of good support hand on it, yet not small enough to really be a tiny gun. Tia felt the same way. And then here's the other bit, is when you've got something this size, why not just have a regular 4-inch 15 rounder? A regular compact gun. The only advantage this offers is slimness. It's definitely slimmer. That would make for more comfortable carry, easier concealment. Is it a whole lot slimmer? Not really. And then here's the other catch, is part of how they did that slimness is this lacks the palm swell in the middle that the regular Palmista Armory Dagger has. And so I brought both guns, and it's at the very end of that video. It's a long video because we did this, and T and I shot these two side by side, and we both prefer just the regular compact for it. Another thing with these ports, as with all ports, is it makes the gun loud, kind of obnoxious to be around. And so I appreciate what they did here. I appreciate that it's somewhat a less expensive X Macro comp alternative that is Glock based for the people that like doing Glock stuff. However, it just kind of left me unimpressed. And for a gun I purchased, that means, is it really need to keep it around? Generally, as you guys have probably noticed, I hold on to stuff that is sent for review, and I generally leave it unmodified, so that it becomes a point of reference and it can be brought back up again and used for comparisons and things like that. This one, I don't know if I'm gonna keep. I don't think there's gonna be a new wave of this size class. Now the SIG 365 Fuse, which is effectively a duty size gun, just really thin, is kind of also a competitor here to this, although this does offer the port. But is that port really necessary? I don't think so. Another thing is, although ports are great for competition guns or going fast or fun range time, I think they're a terrible idea for self-defense. I'm going to slip this little nugget into this video. It's because self-defense is not always shot at an arm's length. You might have close contact. You might have it down near your hip, in which case where the port gases go, right up into your face. You might be in your car. You might be on the ground. You might have to shoot sideways because of your position or whatever's going. There's lots of other positions that end up getting used, intentional or not, in a defensive shooting, where a port could be a liability. It might kick dust in your face. It might kick the gases in your face. It might, bring something down off the ceiling or the roof of the car. There's so many situations where having upward vented jetted gases is a terrible idea in a defensive situation. And I know ports and comps are all the rage right now, and everybody loves them and wants to put them on everything. That's fine. I personally don't recommend them for self-defense. So those are my thoughts and feels on the Dagger Micro. I would love to hear yours. I'm sure there are fans out there. That's cool. Nothing wrong with that. Don't take my opinion as your opinion being wrong. Tell me why you like it and what you like about it, because I would like to hear that. I would need another perspective. That's the whole point of sharing this stuff. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.